Hey, this is Kara. You're watching Really Famous, where you get to know your favorite celebrities on a really intimate level because I was a therapist and that's how I operate. Right now, you are about to really get to know Dylan Efron. You know his brother Zach, and you probably know Dylan from YouTube and Instagram, but do you really know him? You're about to. You wanted to kind of do the opposite of what Zach was doing. So, why did you think you wanted to do the opposite?
I was just so different than my brother growing up. I was in so many organized sports because I just had so much energy and I was physical and tall for my age. So it was like my parents just were like, all right, let this kid run around and tire himself out. So I think just we were so different growing up. He was always drawn to plays and movies, and I was just like wanting to wrestle with my friends. So
Oh, yeah, that makes
I think,
sense.
yeah, I think we were like inherently different, and it's cool to see how our completely different paths have kind of come full circle. And now we're super close and doing very similar careers, and it's cool. But I think the biggest key for me was knowing that I don't have to be an actor, and like I don't think I would be a great actor. Like I think it would be an incredible experience to act, but now there's this world where you can be yourself on camera, and I think that was something that wasn't really available when I first thought of this industry. And I can totally be myself on camera like that. I have no issue with that. It's more like
Right.
I don't know how to play someone else. I can play myself, but Zach's incredible as an actor. He can tell him to show this emotion, he's going to do it. Like for me, put me in a funny situation, I'm going to laugh. We're doing very different things. He's so skilled at his skill set, but like we can all be on camera and as a host, or like show our authentic selves. And I think that was the big
Yeah.
key for me.
And I don't think that's natural for everybody either to be able to be authentic like that on camera. I think the camera makes a lot of people freeze up, which probably you thought it would be for you, but then you realize actually no. But I do think I don't know if it's a skill or a natural thing or whatever, but I don't think just anybody can easily be
Oh
authentic.
yeah, for sure. And I still get nervous and shy, and it never goes away or anything. So
Yeah.
you get better at it the more you do it. It's like anything.
Right, for sure. So, all right, so let's talk about all right, so you have all these different series, really. Like, there's so many of them. So, the Netflix show, you were producer on the Netflix show, right?
Yeah,
I
and
see
and
your
there
name in the credits.
yeah, and there were so many more producers that did so much more. Like Michael Simkin, this project was totally his baby. He's my brother. He's been working for my brother for 10 plus years, and he's the mastermind behind this story. But I was there to help however I could, and it was so fun to work on. And I think my key role is mostly the fact that like I think I have tastes that are very similar to my brother, so I could tell what my brother would want to do, what he wouldn't want to do, and I could help kind of be that medium of like, look, I'm the youngest person on this set, so like I'm from the perspective of a millennial, and I think this would work. I don't think it'll work. I know Zach won't want to do that. I know he will want to do this. So mine was more like on the ground producing, where so many other producers were like the ones that made this show happen. They sold it
Got
to
it.
Netflix. They figured out which countries we're going to, and more along. I was along for the ride on that stuff. So
Well, that's not a bad ride to be along
yeah,
for. I'll
yeah,
tell you
yeah,
what. I
yeah.
watched most of them. I think there are maybe two that I haven't seen yet, but it's
Mhm.
such a great show. It's called Down to Earth, and with Zac Efron, right? Is that
Yep,
part of the
Down to Earth
title?
with Zac Efron. Yeah.
Down to Earth, right? And so that just came out recently on Netflix. And
Yep.
I have to tell you, the first person who told me about it. So I interview people mostly from TV and movies. Do you watch Cobra Kai by chance?
Oh no, that's on my to watch list.
Okay. So one of the stars of Cobra Kai was like, I'm obsessed with this show. It's a great show. And so I watched it. So it's a great show. But anyway, as I was saying, so you got to go along for the ride with this. So when were they actually filmed? Were you gone all the time? And what was like the order of everything?
Yeah, so we actually filmed Down to Earth first, and then we went and filmed some off the grid episodes. Actually, those were about simultaneously. They were doing off the grid simultaneously, like maybe one episode before, and then some as soon as we got back from Down to Earth.
Stay tuned for Dylan's top 5 gear picks. I asked him to share the equipment he swears by. That's coming up, so you'll want to stick around till the end. That's interesting. So, did you sell it? Did they sell it to Netflix then before or after?
So it was a unique deal with Netflix, and they had already sold the show before we'd filmed it. So it just took a year of editing and stuff like that before it was released. So I think they
That's
were
what I
waiting.
figured.
Yeah. So it was done, and they were just sitting on it for like a year, I feel like, and then finally they released it. So it was one of those things that was like in the bank, and just no one had seen it for a little while.
Got it. Okay, so then when were you filming? And then when were you filming Flow State? Like, what's the?
Yeah, Flow State was
Okay,
like
just to be, let's also, before you answer that, I'll cut you
okay,
off. And let's
okay.
make sure everybody knows what Flow State is. So Flow State is brand new. You've had 2 episodes so far, but by the time this airs, I don't know how many you will have. This is your YouTube show.
Yeah, so it's on my YouTube channel, which is just youtube.com/Dylan Efron. And it's my first series that I'm the host. So um, essentially, it's just going on adventures and getting to know people. Actually, yeah. So essentially, it's getting to know people through adventures. So I've noticed in my life, like the strongest connections I form are when I'm off the grid with someone and there's no cell phone near us, or there's no like distractions, and we're completely immersed in the activity, scared or excited. All those things is when you really get to know someone. And so I figured on this show, like, let's take someone, get out of our comfort zones, and really get to know that person and have fun. And that's what Flow State's all about, is getting to know my guest and me through different adventures, and
Right,
normally
right.
something thrilling or exciting, stuff like that, something
Right,
we've
like
never
rock
done before.
climbing, right.
Yeah, rock climbing, speed flying, spear fishing, every random sport there is.
So, okay, so you were filming the other shows. So you're filming the Netflix show and you're filming Zach's YouTube show with
Yep,
you.
yep.
Right. So it's really both of you. And
Yep,
then you decided to do your own.
yep, that's the order.
That's the order. Okay. That's kind of what I figured. And so you're like basically a YouTuber now. Big.
Yeah. No, not a big YouTuber, but the people have been doing YouTube for so long. So I've mostly been on Instagram and just started my YouTube channel. And I think it was just the next step for me to, like, I have these big goals that I've set, like selling my own series to Netflix, and along the way you just chip away at smaller goals, which was like I had to start a YouTube channel, which I had been neglecting forever. So I finally started that, and I'm having so much fun. And like it's just when you have those big goals, you just start chipping along, and yeah, see where it takes you. So
Okay. So let me get this straight then. Your big goal has been to sell a series to Netflix.
yeah, my own series.
Yes, your own series. I
Yeah.
totally get that.
So much of this is like, if you believe in what you're doing and the messages you're portraying, you just want people to see it. And
Yeah.
it's not like, if that's the goal, is like, I just want as many people to see this message as possible, because I think it might make them happy, or it might help the world in some way. Like, that's the end goal. Is and right now that power is in those streaming platforms. That's how you can get the most views on something. So
For sure. Okay, so you put the goal out for yourself, and then tell me about what those steps are, like what's your breakdown?
yeah, so it started with filming my own first series, which was Flow State, and that came about with so I grew up on the central coast of California, and there's a beer company that started out there called Firestone Walker Brewing. And I told them about this show, and they were like, all right, like, we want to partner with you. Let's make this happen. So with their help, we started this first series. And I think that was my first step to becoming a host, because like, I'm not going to sell something to Netflix if I'm not proven and I haven't sharpened the skill.
Right.
So this was really like, let's sharpen the skill of hosting in the thing that's most you ever. It's like, this is what I grew up doing. It's so that I'm just literally having fun with friends. It's like, if I can't do this, then I definitely can't host a series about something I don't know about, or like something else.
Right.
Like, so this was like my first step. This show is exactly who I am. It's what I grew up doing, going on crazy adventures with my friends. So
Okay, so whose idea was it then? Like, did you talk to these beer guys or what? What's the story?
yeah, I had the idea, and I didn't have the means of executing it right away, just because I was like, I knew how to film it for cheap, because I had been doing this for my brother's channel, and I had been doing it like Off the Grid and all these other shows. So I knew how to do it. but I also knew I needed some help, and Firestone was right there. And it was like, I just gave them the pitch, and they're like, this sounds awesome. We love the ties to Central Coast. Like, let's just make this happen. So
Yeah, it's a perfect fit, obviously,
yeah,
for both
yeah,
of you.
yep.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I don't know. I think they're stoked with how it turned out. So,
Are
so
they? What'd they tell
yeah,
you?
yeah. I just think I don't know. I know that, like, for the amount of money we put into this, the quality and the stories we tell and the meaning behind it is pretty powerful.
I noticed also in the Netflix show that there are two sponsors per show, right? That are
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Visa, I see it in there, and
Yeah,
what's the other one?
TripAdvisor.
TripAdvisor,
TripAdvisor. Yeah, there's a bunch that's good. You only see two because
right?
there's a
Oh, are
bunch.
there more
Yeah,
than that in each
yeah,
episode?
yeah. Because
Get out of here!
that's a good way to get the funding to make these shows happen. Because like you said, like, I'm not looking for Netflix to sell a show to Netflix for their money. Like, there's other ways to find money for production. I'm not greedy and trying to make millions of dollars off this. Like, the reason I want to sell a show to Netflix is the viewership.
Yeah.
So the way to make things for me right now is through sponsorships and through creative collaborations with brands and stuff like that. So
Well, that's so interesting too, because I was like, it's so weird to see, not weird, but like, I don't feel like that's what you normally see on a Netflix show, is that you see
yeah,
the sponsors right in the show. That's another reason I was like, oh, I wonder if it was filmed before, but it wasn't. So that was all part of the deal.
yeah, and I don't think it's very traditional for Netflix to do that, like you
Yeah.
said, but I think it worked in that situation. So
So do you have a long list of like things that you want to cover on
oh,
the
for
show?
sure, yeah, for sure.
Like what?
One we were talking about is shark diving. I really want to go swim with the sharks in Hawaii. Um, yeah, there's so many more. I can't give them all away though.
No, no, that's okay. That's okay. Tell me about fame. So are you getting recognized at all now? Like, do you still kind of, I know that there was like, people know that you're Zac Efron's brother at a
Hmm.
minimum, right? And now you
Hmm.
have your own show. So back to my question. So do you get recognized? People think like, who are you? Do we know you?
Yeah, definitely, especially because of like where I live. Like, it seems like I shouldn't live here because it's like a lot of nice people, and they see like a 20-year-old, like what's this guy doing here? So like I definitely think I get noticed, and for me, I'm just I think I've been exposed to it so much, and it's never what like, I think a lot of people seek fame, and that's never been something I wanted, or like out of any of this stuff. I'm more like trying to tell stories and stuff like that. So I've seen the highs and lows of fame, and luckily I haven't experienced any of those lows personally. So I think I'm such a small fry in this, that like, if someone recognizes me, it's more like, oh, that's that kid. It's not like, hey, can I have an autograph or anything? So
Right, right. I kind of
yeah.
feel like I get the sense from you that you would not want to be famous even. Or am I wrong?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, yeah, it's definitely not something like, it's not a goal of mine. Absolutely not. Because
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of the freedoms that I crave in life might go away if you're too famous. And I've seen that with just friends of mine and my brother and stuff like that, how difficult it can be. And I think a lot of people, like, I even saw a quote from Jim Carrey the other day that was like, I wish everyone could be famous so then they could realize that's not what they want. And I saw that. I was like, it's true. It's like, there's so many cool things that can come along with being an actor or being a host or all that stuff. But of all those things, fame is not the thing to strive for.
It's so interesting when you mention Jim Carrey. It reminds me also, like when we were talking about your big dream and like how to get to your dream. Did you ever hear the story about him where when he was I don't know if he was a struggling actor or comedian. I'm not sure how he got started, but he had the big goal that he wanted to make it big. And I don't know if it was that he wanted to be famous or not, because that would be kind of interesting too, because that would have been a goal. And then he has this insight now that he is
Yeah,
famous, right?
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
he dreamed of really making it big, and he wrote himself a check when he was super poor and
Yes.
unknown
Yep.
for
This was from his
like,
graduation speech, I think.
oh, really? So you
Yeah,
did hear
I've
this.
heard this. Yeah, I love Jim Carrey. He's the best.
So what did he made out a check to himself for, like, how a few $1 million or something like that, right?
Yeah,
Or
I think it was a
$1 million?
million dollars. Yeah, I think it was $1 million. He wrote it to himself. but did he end up cashing it? I forgot there's a
I don't
moral
think
to the
so, but I
story.
think the point was that he believed in himself. He was like,
Yep.
I'm going to do it. And by writing
Yep.
himself a check, it was like it helped him believe it. And then if you believe
Yeah.
it, you can make it happen. That
Absolutely.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely. And that's why we're like how we started this podcast was like you set those big goals, and then along the way, whether you reach that big goal or not, you're going to knock off so many great goals along the way. That maybe you never sold that show to Netflix, but you started your own channel, you hosted a few series, like stuff like that. Like you're going to achieve amazing things when you set your goals high.
Totally.
I think it was I forgot who it was, but it was like a perfect example was like Elon Musk when he first got into the space industry was like, we're going to Mars. And like by doing that, it's like, well, now going to the moon's super easy. It's like all these
Yes.
things. It's like, how are we ever going to get to Mars if we can't get to the moon? So it's like by setting that massive goal, it's like all this other stuff's so attainable now. Like going back to that fame question, it's just like there's so many positives that can go with that fame and influence, and like just the ability to connect with people and see cultures, and there's so many positives, but focusing on like the getting recognized and stuff, that's not the positives.
Right.
Like the positives are the opportunities that arise with it, like with being able to share those stories with people and connections you have. So
Yeah. It reminds me of that scene in, I think you guys were in Sardinia maybe,
mhm.
and all the like all like the girls showed up or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, that was crazy.
That was so funny.
Yeah, I've played bodyguard more than once for Zach.
That's so I mean, I guess that gets old though, right? I mean, it has to get old.
For sure. Yeah, like it's so awesome that people want to connect with Zach. So like he's so thankful for it. But then it's like you there's times where you're like, no, I just want to go read a book, and then
Yeah.
something like that would happen. So it's like yeah, it's never something to get worked up about. And like I've worked with actors who are equally as famous, if not more famous than Zach, and like I've seen how they've handled it. And like Will Ferrell was so cool to watch how he interacted with people. He took photos with everyone and was so positive, and like it was definitely annoying to him. Like he was trying to play basketball, but he was never going to show that to a fan because it means so much to him that he has fans. So it was just like, of course I can take this 2 seconds to take a photo. And like he
Yeah.
took photos with thousands of people, like after he was sweaty from playing basketball with us the entire day. So it was like it's so something to be so thankful for and cherish, and like hopefully you don't get too bitter or anything like
Yeah.
that from it.
So if you were to name like two or three people who you look up to, who you're like, that is like a good person that I sort of want to emulate to some degree, or who inspires you, who are they? That was Dylan Efron. But wait, there's more. Part 2 is coming up next.
Just click on the link in the description below. And now, here's Dylan's top 5 gear picks. You can scoop them up easily through the links in the description below. First is the GoPro Hero 9 with bite mount. Dylan says the ability to fit his camera in his pocket and be able to record without using his hands is priceless. 2 is the Garmin Fenix 6 watch. It records every workout he does, and he uses it to manage his heart rate while cycling and running. It's also really durable, so he never has to take it off while he's climbing. Number 3 is a melon hat. Dylan says he used to have to toss all his hats because they got salt stains and sweat stains, or they got wrinkled from stuffing them in luggage or gear bags, but not with these hats, which are his favorite. Number 4 is Elta MD UV Lotion Full Body Sunscreen. It may be a little more expensive, but it's something he puts on his face every day, so we'd rather invest in the good stuff. Number 5 is Ultra Lone Peak Trail and Running Shoes. Dylan says they have a wide toe box, they don't give him blisters, and they hold up. He's logged a lot of miles in these shoes. You can scoop up all 5 of these top picks from Dylan easily in the description below, and by using these links to get there, you're supporting Really Famous, so thank you.
If you liked my talk with Dylan, drop a comment below. Let me know what you like most about it. And don't forget to tap the like button. And remember to subscribe for more real talks with your favorite celebrities. I'm Kara. Thanks for watching.